I want to begin today's show by asking you guys this question. Which off-season type of content do you prefer the most? Draft content, free agency, or trades? I want to do my best job to give you guys what you are looking for, so please don't be afraid. Go in the comment section and let me know which of these three do you like the most. What's going on, Broncos country? Happy Friday. Hope everyone's having a good start to their weekend. On today's show, we're going to talk about the possibility of the Broncos trading for Josh Sweat, the Pro Bowl edge rusher that was listed by Bleacher Report as a potential hypothetical trade between the Eagles and the Broncos. Now, before we look at the exact trade details, let's talk about Josh Sweat as a player for just a moment, because he is the subject of the Eagles trade package going over to the Broncos. He was a fourth-round pick out of Florida State back in 2018. He made the Pro Bowl in 2021, and since 2021, he has had 25 sacks. So he has done a fantastic job of getting after the quarterback in that Eagles defensive line, which has been one of the best units in football over the last few seasons. This past year, a bit of a down-ish season compared to 2022 when everyone in Philadelphia was feasting. He had 6.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. But one thing that I do like a lot about Josh Sweat is the availability, right? You can see there he has not missed much time at all over the last 4 seasons. So up until now, everything sounds hunky-dory about this trade, except when you look at what Denver sends back. This was cooked up by Bleacher Report, not me. The Broncos get a first-round pick from Philadelphia this year, the 22nd overall pick, a fifth-round pick, which is nice because Denver doesn't have a ton of draft ammunition this year, Josh Sweat for Patrick Surtain. And now we come to a screeching halt because I've lost interest. I'm not interested in trading away Patrick Surtain. If you disagree, feel free to get in the comment section. I'll toss this question your way. If you would do this trade, if you were Sean Payton, you get a first, you get a fifth, you get a Pro Bowl edge rusher, but you give up, in my opinion, the best cornerback in football. I'll be honest with you guys, the only Patrick Surtain trade I am interested in is Patrick Surtain for the first overall pick, which the Bears would never do. They should and would want more than just one player, but that's just how crazy I am for my value for Pat Surtain. If the Bears came back and said, would you do Pat Surtain in the 7th for the first overall pick? Yeah, I would play ball. But the point I'm making is I'm not interested in trading Patrick Surtain unless it is such a ridiculous offer that no other team would ever consider accepting it. That's really how valuable I think he is. And it's not even about you could win a Super Bowl around Pat Surtain. I know that it takes a superstar quarterback. But at the end of the day, if you do that Eagles trade, you are going to take that 22nd overall pick, and you know what you're going to use it on? A cornerback. And that cornerback is not going to be nearly as good as Patrick Surtain. And now you are hoping that Josh Sweat and that fifth rounder overcome the deficiency at the cornerback position, which in all likelihood, I feel like if the Denver Broncos, which I don't think they ever would do that trade, but if they did ever do that trade, what would happen? They would probably move on from Josh Sweat in 3 to 4 seasons. That first-round pick would probably be a guy that's here for 4 or 5 years, doesn't get a second contract. That fifth-rounder is an absolute nobody that we all forget about in 2 years. And ultimately, it's one of the greatest highway robberies ever done by the Philadelphia Eagles. And Denver walks away with nothing to show for it in 3 seasons. That's how I see that trade going down. So I'm not interested in trading Pat Surtain for Josh Sweat, a first-rounder, and a fifth. Nope, not interested remotely. Now, next up on the show, we should talk about whether or not it makes sense for Denver to trade for an edge rusher in general, and not with Pat Surtain going the other direction. But what about just the overall idea of should the Broncos go out and add an edge rusher, trade an edge rusher, draft an edge rusher? Is that a position of need for the Broncos? But first, I do want to share with you guys our sponsor today, which is Prize Picks, because the Super Bowl is just over a week away, and it is your last opportunity to get the action in on Prize Picks. Now, let me tell you how Prize Picks works. You pick 2 to 6 players, and then choose more or less on their projected stats. Now, I know everyone watching right now is rooting for the less on Patrick Mahomes' projected stats, but we can all agree that 0.5 passing yards for Patrick Mahomes is probably a low bar for him, right? So I'll take the more there. I'll also take the more on Isaiah Pacheco at half a receiving or rushing touchdown. And then I like the more on Brock Purdy at 248.5 passing yards. So if you like my selections, hop on board. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. I've put that link in the comments and description of today's video. That's Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. So let's talk about Denver's pass rushing unit for a moment here, because whether it's Josh Sweat or someone else, we should talk about whether or not it makes sense for the Broncos to pursue edge rusher this offseason to a high degree. Now, they're returning most of their starting defensive linemen, right? Zach Allen, DJ Jones, still under contract. Remains to be seen whether or not they hold on to DJ Jones. Jonathan Harris is a free agent. I don't see him coming back. But Jonathan Cooper, Baron Browning, and Nick Bonito, your top three outside linebackers, your top three true edge rushers, they are all on their rookie contracts. And all of them, I would say, played very well last year. If Baron Browning does not miss the first quarter to third of the season, he may finish with around 8 sacks. And as a committee, and that's what this unit is, a committee in Denver, Cooper, Browning, and Bonito, I think all showed more than just flashes. Like, we saw some consistency at stretches with these three guys, and I can rally around these three players. I think Denver's edge rushers are kind of in no man's land. Those three guys are good enough to not need a major addition, to not have the need to feel like you need to trade Patrick Surtain because you have such a deficiency at pass rushers. Now, I think those three guys are good enough that you don't feel like you're in that camp. At the same time, those three guys are not good enough where you can walk into this offseason saying, hey, if we use a 4th or 5th round pick on edge rusher, we're good. We still got Coop and Bonito and Browning. No, you probably need to do a little bit more than just a day 3 pick on an edge rusher because they're not quite at that level. But I do believe those three guys can do more than just hold down the fort for 2024. So, where do we find ourselves? Well, when you look at the free agent edge rushers, Denver is simply not going to have enough money to spend on Josh Allen or Brian Burns. If they even really hit the open market, Jacksonville and Carolina does not bring them back. I remember George Paton's press conference at the end of the year, and he warned us, we believe that Riley Moss and Marvin Mims and the center they took out of Oregon, whose name Alex Forsythe, are all starting caliber players in our league. AKA, those are our replacements for the free agents at that position. So, if Denver's not going to spend big on Allen, Burns, Hunter, Jonathan Grenard, maybe it's a cheaper veteran like Clowney, Zadarius Smith, Leonard Floyd, some of the older guys that would get a 1-year sub $10 million contract. That could be something Denver plays ball with. But let's say they don't want to go the free agency route, at least not to, truly satisfy their need at edge rusher. Let's say they want to do that in the draft. Well, they got the 12th overall pick. And this year's draft class, it's not really loaded at edge rusher. I don't think we're going to see any edge rusher go top 10. And that's surprising. I mean, you go back and look at previous drafts, and you got plenty of edge rushers like Trevon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, Will Anderson. Those all went top 3. So I don't think we see that this year, which is kind of good news for Denver because they could still get a good edge rusher at pick number 12. Ultimately, I think the Broncos go edge or corner at number 12. I know they need a quarterback. You know they need a quarterback. But is Sean Payton going to force a QB pick at number 12? I think in very all likelihood, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jane Daniels are all gone in the top 10. So that leaves you with Michael Penix, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy. I don't think they have first-round grades on them. I like Michael Penix a lot, but the injuries concern me. So maybe after the medicals come back, we can reevaluate. But for now, I'm thinking those are round 2, round 3 kind of players. So what if Denver goes, you know what? Let's try and trade back because we're not getting a good value at number 12, at least at number 12 in our eyes, and pick up some more much-needed draft compensation. But if they can't find a trade partner, maybe they go edge rusher, at pick number 12 with one of those 5 guys we just looked at. Or maybe they decide, let's get edge after trading back and then find our quarterback in day 2. I'm not really warming up, or I'm not really forecasting the idea that the Broncos go quarterback at number 12 overall. But let me know what you think Sean Payton and company should do at pick number 12. Should they go quarterback? Should they go edge rusher? Or should they go cornerback? I know that they said Riley Moss is a starting corner in this league. He wasn't a starting corner last year, and hey, it's your rookie season. You don't have to be, but man, you benched Amari Mathis a quarter of the way into the season, and instead of trotting out the rookie to see if he has anything to watch, you went with the veteran Fabian Moreau, who's not coming back this year. That says a lot to me. So let me know what you think the Broncos should do at pick number 12. That's going to do it for us on this edition of the Broncos Breakdown. I really appreciate everyone who takes time out of their day to come watch these videos. I know it's February. It's not quite like the absolute dog days of the offseason. That belongs more to June and July. There's still plenty to talk about, but still, pat yourself on the back because all the casuals check out probably well before even Week 18 this season. So let me know. I appreciate everyone for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you have not already.